All right. Laureli. All right. You feel comfortable?
Yeah.
You good?
Yeah.
All right, Moses, you good, man? You need anything?
Nope, I'm on.
All right, buddy. Sounds good. Okay. Well, welcome, Seattle. I'm your host, Tyler Davis Jones, and welcome to the podcast where we believe we need to learn from each other, hear each other's stories, and that's how we grow a better city. So I'm here with my new friend, Laureli. Laureli, how are you?
I'm great.
Awesome.
I'm excited to be here.
Exciting.
Yeah.
I'm excited that you're here as well. So let's just dive into your story a little bit. You are 17 years old.
Yes.
You are a Seattle native.
Mm-hmm.
What neighborhood did you grow up in?
I grew up in Woodinville for
Yeah.
a little bit, actually. And then
Wine country.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, it was not very exciting as a
Okay.
5-year-old.
Okay, that's cool.
But we moved over to Capitol Hill when I went into the 5th grade.
Okay.
And then moved pretty close to where I was in Capitol Hill, down to Madison Valley, and I've been there ever since.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Very cool. What was it like growing up in Capitol Hill? Like, are you taking the bus? Are you Ubering or lifting everywhere? Like, what does that look like?
I actually didn't take the bus, which I should have probably taken advantage of.
Okay.
But I went to Seattle Girls School, which
Okay.
is super close to where we lived.
Nice.
And I loved that. I loved going to Seattle Girls School. I think it really helped me become who I am right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great. What does that look like? I mean, are they just encouraging you to explore your ideas, really try to become who you are? Like teachers who are encouraging you? What did that look like?
Definitely. I had a lot of very supportive teachers. I think the community was genuinely what I feel like I got the most out of. All of my best friends today I actually met there.
Cool.
Which is great. But they're a STEAM school, so they have all the STEM stuff, and then they add art
as well.
to it.
Interesting. Yeah. STEAM. Okay. Yeah. I worked for an education tech startup back in the day, so I'm familiar with STEM, but I haven't heard of STEAM. That's great. I love that.
Yeah.
Because that is a component I feel like that is missing especially in the STEM world, right? Science, technology, education, math, or engineering math. So to add arts. Because there's a mathematics side to art. There's a philosophy behind it.
Yeah, I love it.
Okay, well that's cool.
Yeah.
So are you in Capitol Hill now? Is that where you live?
I am. Yeah. More Madison Valley, Capitol Hill, but I'm always on Capitol Hill.
Yeah,
so.
for sure.
Yeah.
That's great. What's something most people don't know about Capitol Hill? Like, is there a favorite coffee shop you find yourself at? Is there a park that you typically go to?
Wow. Honestly, I probably don't get around the city as much as I should.
Sure.
But I go to Seattle Central College, and I love being around there. I feel like that section of Broadway is the most exciting section of Broadway.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
There's so much going on in that little area, which is great. I grew up skateboarding quite a bit, so even in my little town in Tennessee, I'd see like videos of guys at Seattle Central, typically like the 35th North guys who are up on Capitol.
Yeah.
And just being like, oh, this is such a cool city. Oh my gosh. That's great. Very, very cool. And what are you studying at Seattle Central?
Right now I'm trying to graduate from high school and get my associate's degree.
Cool.
I'm just getting the basic requirements done right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why are you on the podcast? What exactly is a 17-year-old doing on the Rise Seattle podcast?
I'm a musician. I'm mostly singer-songwriter, but I do a little producing.
Nice.
Yeah.
And have you always been musically inclined? Like,
definitely.
Okay.
Yeah,
so you're like singing in diapers type thing.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay. Your personality I love because you're super chill. You're laid back. It's really nice. Did you always want to be on stage in front of people? Was that something you're like, hey,
absolutely.
Okay, like
that's
pretending to hold the microphone, doing that whole thing.
Yeah. I would always put on shows for my family.
Nice.
I was in all the talent shows at my school forever. My big goal is the huge stadium shows. I would love to perform in front of thousands of people.
So walk me through that, because with that comes notoriety, comes like the lack of anonymity. But that's just something you've always desired, or what's okay? cool.
Yeah, I like when I would go to sleep at night, I would think about that all the time. I would just dream about that. It would make me too excited to sleep, just thinking about performing and playing these huge shows.
Yeah.
Because the people I've always looked up to, I always have seen just singing in front of these giant crowds, singing along with them or jumping up and down, and I've always wanted to feel that.
Yeah. Let's talk about the people you look up to. Who are some of those artists?
Since forever, Ariana Grande has been one of the big ones.
Yeah.
Those little cliche, but
sure.
I grew up watching her on TV, and now still listen to her music, still love it.
That's great. Yeah. That's great. Any other big hitters that you love, or maybe even lesser knowns?
More recently, Billie Eilish. Yeah. One of her first song that I heard was Ocean Eyes.
Okay.
And it was one of the first songs I ever learned how to play on the guitar.
Oh, no way. Yeah, that's great.
So I've loved her for a long time.
Yeah. I like Billie Eilish because, so growing up, I grew up watching, Christina Aguilera and Britney Spears, right? These over-sexualized 17-year-old girls where I'm like, I'm pretty sure there's like 35-year-old men watching you. You know what I mean? Like, and it seems that she's kind of flipped it on this countercultural, like, I'll wear what I want, I'll be who I am. Like, it's really a cool. I like that aspect. I think.
Yeah,
of her,
I think it's great.
Right. Don't over sexualize me. I'll tell you who I am. Type situation. That's awesome. Yeah. Very cool. Okay, so let's talk a little bit. About your music. So what exactly? What are you singing about? What's kind of the target or the drive or message you're trying to communicate?
I think the thing that's most important to me would be a message of confidence. I feel like I've always felt like a very confident person since I was little. I've always had the attitude of I'm gonna do what I want to do. I'm gonna wear what I want to wear. I'm gonna look however I want.
Sounds like my daughter. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a 4-year-old daughter, and she's already talking that way.
That's great.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah. So that's always been behind it for me. I think I try to write songs that kind of show off the confidence, kind of self-love. Like, I'm gonna tell you how I'm feeling.
Sure.
And not be ashamed about it. Kind of.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. What is it like being an artist in Seattle?
It's great. I feel really lucky to be in Seattle. I think that we have a really exciting music community.
Supportive.
Definitely. Yeah. I'm really, since I started making music, it's been really easy to find people who want to work with me and who I want to work with and who want to support me. It is definitely a boys' club in Seattle.
Is it really? Interesting. Is that the music industry, like, fully? So I grew up in Nashville, Tennessee, right? A couple of my friends are in bands. A couple of my friends are in management or agents or producing or whatever. And it seems that they are all male, typically. But you would say across the board?
I think so. I think it actually surprised me. I was aware that the big industry was definitely a boys' club.
Sure.
But the thing that surprised me was that I'm going to run into that on every level of my career in music, which is a little disheartening, but also motivates me to go find the female musicians in Seattle, go organize a women's only show that I want to put on.
That's awesome. Very cool. Love her or hate her, but T Swift just put out her new what is it? If I Were a Man, I'd Be the Man, which I was listening to it, getting chills, going like, hell yeah, all right, just kind of taking down the patriarchy and really shining a really big light on what actually the music industry is all about, which I think is cool. What's it like being a 17-year-old and also trying to be an artist? That's got to be tough.
It's a lot. It is a lot. I get a little deer in the headlights moment when I think about how all my friends are doing their college applications and figuring out what they want to do next year, and I am not really having a plan of what I want to do next year. But I also feel like it's a pretty big advantage to start young. I look at a lot of my friends who are supportive of me in the music industry, and they're older than me, and I have this feeling of like, if I was where they were, I feel like I couldn't get as far as I wanted to.
Yeah,
I feel very glad that I started as young as I did.
Yeah, that's awesome. What's funny is, everybody on the other side, like all of your friends who are going to school, they're thinking the exact same thing about you. Like, what a cool person. What in the world? She's just killing it. She's going after her dreams. So, like, in those lonely moments, because I feel that too, right? We were talking off mic previously, but being in real estate, I run my business way different, right? I've got a podcast. I'm like trying to be involved in the community. I'm trying to, like, I don't want to be this salesy douchebag that's like, can I sell your house? You know what I mean? Like, I'm genuinely trying to be a part of the community in some capacity that's giving value back, and highlighting people's stories who are interesting. And I just think sometimes to be on this end, it's really tough because you see these guys who are just, well, I made $1 million last year, but I'm happy and I'm genuinely enjoying the process. And I would say most of my colleagues are looking in on that going like, how do I do that?
Yeah.
So,
that's great.
but it's hard. I get it. Okay. So, let's talk music venues in Seattle. Like where are you typically playing, or where are you going and seeing shows? What does that look like?
My first show was at Cafe Racer, which was great. Cool. I loved it. There were 3 of us, and we packed the place. They told us that they don't think they've ever had that many people come to a show. Oh my gosh. Which was really exciting.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. And then as far as, like, do you try to go to shows as much as possible to get inspiration, or what does that typically look like?
I love going to concerts. I'm definitely more of a stand in the back kind of person. Sure. I did the whole mosh pit thing for a little bit.
Oh, interesting.
Very quickly got over it.
Yeah. So, something I've learned from my friends who've been in the business has been like, so the technology that's opened up, right? We're in one of the most fastest growing technology cities in the country. You have all these platforms, from Spotify to Amazon, Music to Apple. Is it Apple? What is it? Apple Music now? Yeah. And all of these other platforms that are just kind of bubbling up as well. So the ability to delineate and distribute your music is never before been so easy, but it also seems like it's few people actually skyrocketing and making money. So it's almost made the field bigger, but at the same time made the success rate smaller.
Definitely.
Have you experienced that, or is that?
I think so, for sure. That's a really good way to put it.
Okay.
I'm very glad that I have a way to put out my music on my own.
Sure.
But with that obviously comes disappointment.
Yeah. Of course.
Because if you're not attached to someone who's promoting your music, or a label who's promoting your music, then generally you're not going to get too much of a response, at least in the beginning.
Sure.
Just because there is a way to put out your own music doesn't mean that people are going to listen to it.
Yeah, of course.
That more people probably aren't going to listen to it.
Totally. Yeah, it seems to be almost sometimes noise. Not that your music is that, but if you're in this sea of artists, now all of a sudden you're one of the many artists trying to make it, right? Yeah, that's fascinating. Do you? I don't know Billie Eilish's story that well, but was she kind of self-made, or did it? What was the trajectory of her?
I'm not entirely sure. I'm pretty sure she came from a musical family.
Oh, interesting.
And they were involved with a bit of the industry, so I don't think it was entirely herself.
Sure, that makes sense. So what is, or do you have a strategy? Are you trying to do like X number of shows? I would imagine, streaming wise, most of your songs, you're like 5,000-6,000 or so streams on your Spotify. But is there like this direction that you're trying to head of, like, am I going after stream revenue? Am I going after like playing a gig revenue? Am I trying to sell t-shirts? Like, what is, do you have a business direction? And don't worry if you don't, I'm just, this is the way my mind works. So
I feel like loosely I have a kind of a direction in each thing individually.
Sure. Yeah.
I am working on a merch design right now.
Oh, that's exciting.
I have little stickers.
Cool.
And eventually I want to sell t-shirts and things like that. I feel like that's really where the money is at for shows.
Sure.
I do try to play one show a month. I've heard that that's kind of the sweet spot.
Cool.
And then I would love to get my streams up. Right now I'm working on getting my songs onto playlists, which has proven to be very helpful.
Yeah. The band that I'm relatively good friends with is Bird Talker. They're a Nashville folk like post-spiritual, I guess, if you will. So very just talking about the rawness. Do you have an Alan Watts quote in your song potentially?
No,
It's like
I didn't think so.
I think it says, "Dear Buddhists." What is it? I wrote it down. What does it say? The fault is not in our stars, but in our hearts. I think at the very beginning. Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. Is that what that is?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's Alan Watts. Anyways, that's the kind of music that they're. It's very intellectually based, but also like singing to the soul, right? Kind of head in the heart type music. And their experience has been massive streams, but then split between 5 people, then split between your manager, then split between your producer, and all of a sudden you're this pretty decent chunk of money, right? Millions of streams becomes like, here's $1,000, buddy. Like, you know, you're slinging it. So I could see how it'd be a really it's going to be an uphill climb for sure.
Definitely.
So okay, well, let's talk about your music for a bit. So the one like that I'm referring to, let's see here. What was the name of that? Good Luck. Yes. So that's my favorite song of yours.
Thank you.
By the way, go and check out Spotify. Laureli. I said that right.
Yep,
I'm so
right.
sorry. This morning I was prepping. I was like Laureli.
Oh,
so Laureli. Check that out. And you just released a new EP too. It sounds like.
I just released a new single. I'm coming out with a new EP.
Oh, cool.
2
Okay.
songs pretty soon.
Great. That's exciting. So Wave is the song that you just released. Can you tell us a little bit about that song? Like, what's the context there?
That song was really fun to write. My producer, Moses Ray Walker, you can check him out too.
He's in the room.
Yes.
Moses, buddy. Do people call you Mo?
No.
No? Okay.
Mom.
I'm not going to do that then. All right. Sounds good. All right. Sweet.
Yeah, so he sent me that beat.
Okay.
And I started writing to it. I generally write lyrics first, but as I started putting out my music, I found it just faster to write to music that already existed.
Sure.
And I wrote that song about a girl I went to school with,
Okay.
actually.
Okay.
And it was a really great release, I feel like.
Nice.
For an unresolved situation. It was great to just everything out that I wanted to say. Like, face, this is how
Okay. Interesting. So it's a good way of probably not creating too much drama, but maybe just releasing it into art, which I think we can all good. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. So at the beginning of Good Luck, right? The quote that I was referring to earlier was, "The fault, dear Buddhists," I believe is what it says, and that's what I think. It's an Is it an Alan Watts quote? Do you know, Moses? I think. Is not in our stars, but in us.
Yes.
Absolutely love that quote. What is what was the reason for putting it in? And maybe we could ask Moses too. I don't know.
I felt like so at this point this song wasn't actually written yet.
Okay.
And I feel like it inspired a lot of the song.
Yeah.
It's about how I tend to feel like I make things harder on myself, specifically in the relationship setting.
Sure.
People tend to get in their heads about love and thinking about, like, it's sometimes just easier to be on your own. You know what you like, you know what you want, you know your own feelings. And so I feel like it was very fitting for that quote to be like, it's not always on you, it's on me, and that's okay.
Totally. Yeah. I feel like the world would be a better place if we could recognize that too. And it's like, the Alan Watts talks a lot about otherness, this concept of you even look at our political spectrum, right? And we have our idea. Coming from the South, it's easier for me to say because I'm like, well, yeah, these people voted for a crazy man, and I totally don't agree with that. But they're also really wonderful human beings if you just got into a room with them. Often their ideology doesn't line up with their actual, the way their actions come out in the world. And I know Alan Watts is all about this idea of we're all in this thing together, right? So recognize the issues that are in ourselves and then realize other people are dealing with those same things. That's good. Let's see. So that song also seems to be written from the perspective of a woman who knows her worth, right? So you were talking about that previously. It says, I'd rather break my own heart. Love letters are better from myself. Breakfast in my own bed. Don't need help. So break that down a little bit for me. And we're going to be playing these songs at the beginning and end of the episode. So.
So I wrote that just feeling like I know how to make myself feel like I'm special. I know what I need to hear in order to make myself feel better. And it's always been a theme in my life, I feel like, is that I want to be independent, and I feel like I am independent, and I know how to do the things that I need for myself. You know, and it's always great to have someone else who wants to do those things for you.
Yeah, of course.
But at the end of the day, I think it's really important that that not be anything you need to rely on.
Is that something your parents taught you?
Definitely, yes. My parents are both very independent.
Independent people?
Yeah.
That's cool. Might have to borrow some knowledge from them, you know, to help raise my kiddo.
Definitely.
Okay, interesting. Let's see. So the waves we talked about, you said basically that's written to one of your...
Yes.
Okay, cool. So growing up, like, were you going to shows or anything along those lines? Did you know Seattle had this, like, you know, music
I didn't actually.
history?
I knew about the bands that came from Seattle, you know, and when I actually started learning guitar in 6th grade, all the guitars were donated to us by Pearl Jam.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Old Mike McCready. Good dude. Yeah,
that was fun. But mostly I feel like I got into music and into the whole performing thing because my family, we had the Guitar Hero video game.
Oh, yeah.
And after dinner, we would all set it up in the living room.
That's amazing.
Like,
I love it.
pick an instrument.
That's great.
Together.
Super fun.
Yeah.
Very cool. In your relationship with your parents, so are they coming to shows? Are they stoked about it? They're like posting on Facebook, like, oh, yes. Mom, but also thanks, appreciate that.
Both of them are really supportive. It's been great. They're at all my shows.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. The reason I even brought you on the show to begin with is, like, it's very apparent you're an entrepreneur, right?
Yes.
Like you're hustling, and you're living in this world, right, where in Seattle, where it's just full of entrepreneurs. More entrepreneurs are coming to Seattle. You know, when you emailed me, you're like, hey, I've got an interesting perspective. I'm 17. Here's my Spotify list.
Yeah.
Like, and it just grabbed me. And honestly, the music is amazing. Like, you should be very proud of what you're creating. I played it for my wife even this morning. She was like, oh, damn, that's like... Because I shot her an email. I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting. You think I should do this? And she's like, oh, my gosh, this is so good. So you should be proud of that.
Thank you.
I guess my question is, like, what is the drive? So, like, what's the North Star that's causing you to hustle as much as you're hustling, right? What's the driving force behind that? Is it I gotta succeed, I gotta get to that place where I'm playing the arena venue, or is it what is that drive?
There's definitely an aspect of community there. I want people to listen to my lyrics. I feel like my lyrics have always been the most important part to me, but I want people to be able to listen to those and feel like they're not alone, and feel like you can be this independent woman too. You can do what you want for yourself. And then also there's a superficial aspect to it. Like, I want to be someone that people recognize on the street. I want to be someone that people go to watch a show, you know. I want to, you know, be successful.
Sure. Yeah, of course. That's great. Yeah. Do you see yourself staying in Seattle as your career evolves, or is that something, like, is Seattle where your genre lives, or do you need to go to LA? Do you need to go somewhere else? What does that look like?
I think just outside of the aspect of music, Seattle isn't where I want to stay, mostly just because I grew up here and I want to experience something else.
Of course.
I think Seattle's a great place for right now for building up who I am in music. I don't feel the need to go to LA. I think if there was an opportunity that came up that required me to be in LA, I would love to go there. I would love to live there, but I definitely don't think that I would move there to try to make it.
Okay, got it. When your roots are here, your network is here.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes complete sense to kind of build that up.
Yeah.
Moses is here. Right?
Yes,
we don't want to leave
here.
Moses behind.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Let's see here. Yeah, what's next? I guess what's next for Laureli, for the brand? You're a brand now. How does that feel?
I am
That's
a brand.
weird.
My dad works in marketing, actually,
Yeah.
so we've been figuring out what my brand is.
Yeah.
He's taken me through a couple branding workshops.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's so good, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you need that. I think you need that too to kind of separate yourself a little bit from, like, you can't just be Laureli. I can't just be a real estate agent. I would shoot myself so bad. So, like, I get that separation, which I think is smart. Plus, it can live on and kind of work when you're not working, which is really great.
Yeah.
But yeah, what are you said you're trying to do a show a month.
Yes.
You said you've got an EP that's releasing. Is there a set date for that, or are you kind of just working on it right now?
I'm playing a show at Town Hall here, actually.
Oh, nice.
September 14th, so I'm
September
hoping it'll
14th.
come out sometime around then.
Nice.
Yeah, it'll be 2 songs.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I've got some really exciting singles coming. I'm working with a lot of new people that I'm excited about.
That's so great.
Yeah.
Do you get to collaborate with a lot of artists too to be on their record and kind of vice versa?
Yeah, there's a really cool DJ producer in Seattle. His name is Samurai Dell.
Okay.
And I'm gonna be working with him pretty soon. I'm actually going to record with him in a couple days.
Nice.
Yeah. I met someone through one of my classes at Seattle Central, actually. We were in an English 101 class together.
Love it.
We figured out that we both are really into music, and he's actually producing the EP that's coming out.
No way.
Yeah.
My life changed in an English 101 class.
Really?
I'm not even joking. I swapped schools because of a bad breakup.
Oh, yeah.
And basically had to retake an English 101 class. And in that class, we read a couple of books that just blew my whole paradigm open, and I wouldn't be in Seattle without that. So, yeah, your life can change in an English 101 class. So that's good.
Yeah.
Sweet. So where do you want listeners to go and listen to your music?
Spotify and Apple Music are definitely the biggest.
Okay.
Or you can go buy it all on iTunes, and
that's probably the better idea. Let's go buy the album on iTunes.
Yeah.
Support local artists, and it's amazing music. So go and do that.
You. Yeah.
I highly recommend it. We always talk about the city at the end of the show. We've kind of talked about like the music scene in general in Seattle.
Yeah.
Are there any issues within Seattle as a 17-year-old, right, that are important to you that you want to talk about, or maybe not even issues, but just maybe hopes or fears for the city as we move forward?
Definitely. I've always been really passionate about social justice, and I think that Seattle is a great place to be passionate about that. Generally, people in Seattle think that they're in a little bubble, you know, that we've got our little progressive place right here, and I don't think that that's always true. I don't think that it's true in a lot of aspects of Seattle, and I think there are a lot of things we need to work on to get to where we should be, in terms of diversity and affordable housing and homelessness.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's great. Very cool. Laureli, I've got nothing but love, man. This is exciting. I'm really excited to just see where you go and keep hustling. And any way Rise Seattle can support you, we'd love to do that for you. So I'm bummed I'll be in San Francisco on the 14th, but I would have tried to hit that show. So September 14th, and where is that again?
Town Hall.
Town Hall. Go and buy
6
me.
p.m.
6 p.m. Town Hall, September 14th. Go hear her music. Buy her music online.
Yes.
Stream it, do all of those things. Buy it and then stream it, because
Yeah.
then that's residual income. It's great.
Everything.
This is great. Excellent. Thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you, Seattle. Go and do the thing that scares you. I'm inspired by Laureli because she's doing her thing. All of her classmates, all of her colleagues, all of her friends are going off to school, and she's pursuing her dream. And we should be inspired by that, and we should support that, and then you should also go and do whatever that thing that's itching in the back of your head that you want to do, because we only have one life, you know. All right, I'm going to leave you with the quote from Alan Watts again. The fault, dear Buddhists, Christians, Jews, Hindus, atheists. I don't care.
Yeah.
Any of you folks out there, the fault is not in our stars, but in us. All right, Seattle, have a great day.